Hi loves, welcome back. For today's video, I have this full coverage drugstore summer foundation routine. I have been loving so many of these products lately, and for the most part, I do wear these every single time I've been doing my foundation. I've just been reaching for these. Sometimes I will switch out certain things for others, but for the most part, these have been my go-to. So I hope you guys enjoy it, and if you want to see how to get this full coverage face, then you know what to do. Alright, so starting off, I have absolutely no face makeup on, and the reason I always like to do my eye makeup first is because I like to have a completely flawless looking face, and I find that whenever I do my face makeup first and then my eyes, I always get eyeshadow and fallout, and it just doesn't look as flawless as possible. So that's why I always recommend to always start with the eyes and brows and then move on to the rest of the face. So I'm starting off today with a primer, of course. I'm going to be going in with the Wet n Wild's Coverall primer. I have been obsessed with this combo lately. This primer is really nice because it starts off as like a lotion consistency and a little bit goes a long way. I like to just rub it in between my fingers and then just apply it all over. Once you apply it, it feels so moisturizing, and then once it kind of absorbs into the skin within a few seconds, it gives your skin this really soft, smooth base. It's amazing, and it also absorbs any oil that you have on your face without over drying it. So that's why I really like it. And the top of my face tends to be a lot more oily than the bottom, but in the summertime my skin is a lot more oily in general than in the winter, but it's not excessively oily anymore. That's pretty much like my skin type, so it's like a combo of both. For foundation today, I'm going in with the L'Oreal Pro Glow. I do have two shades because I was on vacation and I got super dark. It definitely has faded at this point, but I'm gonna go in with 204, which is Natural Buff, and then I'm gonna go in with 210 Classic Tan. Two like completely different shades, but I'm gonna be mixing the two to kind of create my perfect shade. I'm just going to apply a little bit of each because honestly this foundation, you do not need a lot of it. I find that if you layer it up and you use too much of it, it can get cakey. I just take about that much, and even that is like a little bit too much. And I'm just going to be mixing it just with my finger, and then I just apply it right onto my face. This foundation is gorgeous, you guys. It is a medium to full coverage, but you still get that really gorgeous natural glow with it, which is my favorite thing because in the summertime, I think it just makes your skin look so fresh and healthy. It's beautiful. So I'm taking my damp beauty blender, and this is just the original one that you can get at Sephora, and I'm just going to take this and really just press it into my skin and bounce it on. The Beauty Blender is my favorite way to apply foundation. I always say this because people always ask me like, is it worth it? Like, because it's $20 for a sponge, which sometimes honestly, I don't even want to pay $20 for a sponge, but I promise you that it's completely worth it. It gives your face the most flawless finish ever. Like, I am obsessed. And I feel like with a brush, sometimes makeup can look really cakey and it kind of looks like you have a lot of makeup on, but with the Beauty Blender, it gives you this like airbrush finish to your face. With any foundation, just to give you the most full coverage look, you want to make sure that you're really pressing it into your skin instead of kind of rubbing it, because if you rub it, you're not really getting any coverage with it. You're kind of just spreading the product onto your face, and it just is kind of sitting over top of your face without actually covering anything up, if that makes sense. For my under eye, I'm going in with the Pixi Under Eye Corrector. This one's in the shade Brightening Peach. You can get this online or at Target. My Target sells Pixi, and I'm obsessed with this because you can see it is a very peachy light color. It's perfect if you have dark circles like myself. And I'm using a flat Wet n Wild brush just to apply this directly underneath my eyes. And this basically just is going to kind of act as like a base for your concealer. It's going to cover up any dark circles that you have. That way when you go over top with your actual concealer, none of your dark circles are going to peek throughout the day. This is basically kind of like a primer for your concealer. It just makes everything last longer and just look more brightening and more awake and more full coverage, which I love because I have dark circles like crazy. Then just with my Beauty Blender, I'm going in and just blending that out. The formula of this is pretty thick, but once you blend it out, it is so creamy. This is very similar to the Becca Under Eye Corrector, but it's like half the price. And I'm sorry if I keep looking to the side. Everyone always asks me like, what are you looking at? And I have my viewfinder and then my laptop that I use as like my monitor. I always just like to make sure that I'm like focused and in the frame. It's gonna look a little bit crazy at first, just like really bright white underneath the eyes, but I promise once you put the concealer on, it looks great. Today I'm going to be taking the Maybelline Better Skin Concealer. This one's in the shade Medium. I have said it so many times, but Maybelline definitely is my favorite brand from the drugstore when it comes to concealer. They just have the best formula. It is a medium to full coverage concealer. They're so creamy, and I feel like once you build them up, they never get cakey. So I'm just applying this right underneath my eyes, down my nose, my lip, on my chin, also kind of like around my mouth, and then right on my forehead, on the center. I'm going to just take my beauty blender, of course, to blend that out. The reason why I like to apply concealer on all those areas is because I feel like if you just apply a highlighting concealer underneath your eyes, it can look kind of like very harsh on your face. You want to make sure you have a nice balance between everything. So I like to highlight my entire face, that way everything looks natural, if you will. You know what I mean. To go ahead and set that concealer, I'm going in with the NYC Smooth Skin Loose Face Powder. I've been obsessed with this lately. This is one of my like favorite powders ever. I've been using this for like forever, but I recently just discovered it in my collection again. You know when you like forget about products sometimes? So what I'm going to do is just take it and just kind of tap it right into the lid. And this one, is, by the way, is in the shade Naturally Beige. And I'm going to take my damp beauty blender and I'm just going to dip that right into the product, right onto the tip. And I've been doing this a lot lately, and I'm just going to go ahead and set right underneath my eyes. Now, I'm not going to bake. I'm just literally going to set this. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of baking underneath my eyes. I feel like it's really, really drying, and it just doesn't look cute on me like at all. So I just like to set with the Beauty Blender. I feel like it gives it a very nice finish, and it just looks really flawless. Also going to take some powder and just set the areas where I have applied that concealer. To go ahead and set the rest of my face in the areas where I didn't apply concealer, like my cheeks and like around the perimeter of my face, I'm going in with the same powder because I just love it that much. It's really light on the skin and it doesn't look like you have powder on, which is my favorite thing ever. And I'm just taking a fluffy brush. This is the Royal & Lang Nickel powder brush, which you can find this brand at Walmart, and I'm just going to be setting my face very lightly with this. One of my favorite things about this foundation is that even if you set it, you still get that glow peeking through without it looking too greasy and oily, so it's just my favorite. I'm going to go ahead and contour. On an everyday basis, I like to give myself a very natural contoured look. That's just my personal preference. And one of my favorite powders in the summertime is the L'Oreal True Match Super Blendable Powder in the shade Cocoa. If you are really tan, this is one of those bronzers that's actually going to show up on your skin tone. And since it's just a powder, it's perfect for contouring because it is matte. And I'm using an Up and Up angled contour brush from Target. I will leave all the brushes that I use listed below. Now for blush, I'm going in with this e.l.f. Duo. This one's in Fiji Matte. I just started using this blush and I really love it. It's a really natural rose flush on the cheeks. And I do switch out my blushes like on an everyday basis, but I always go for colors that are very natural. So I'm going in with this color and I'm going to be using the stippling brush, which is also by Royal & Lang Nickel. And I'm just going to be applying that right to the apples of my cheeks. And I love this blush because you could kind of just give yourself a really natural wash of color, or you could build it up and make it a little bit more intense. Now for the best part, I'm going in with highlighter. Today I'm going to be using the Wet n Wild Fergie highlighter in Hollywood Boulevard. Now this highlighter, the name and the Fergie collection, I heard like no longer exists at Wet n Wild, so you can find this highlighter online on their website, but it has a different name now. I think it's called like Boozy Bunch or something like that. I'll leave it down below, and it's seriously one of the best highlighters that I always fall back to. Sometimes I find myself going to this over some of my high-end highlighters because it's just that beautiful. So I'm taking another Up and Up brush and just really highlight everything like I always do. And you can just see it's just a really gorgeous champagne highlight. Reminds me a lot of Champagne Pop by Jaclyn Hill. If you're on a budget, this is a great alternative. Down my nose, on my cupid's bow, on my chin a little bit. You can see just a little bit of this goes a long way. Alright, so before setting my face, I'm going to go ahead and finish up the bottom of my eyes, my lips, and then I'll be right back. So I just finished up my lower lashes and my lips, and the final thing I'm going to do is just to lock in all that hard work we just did is just take the Pixi Fixing Mist. You can get, again, Pixi at Target. I love this one. It smells just like roses, and I really feel like it helps with my makeup to not look cakey and to just last all day. I just have been obsessed with this. So I'm just going to spritz my entire face. And you want to make sure that once you set your makeup, you're not making any crazy facial expressions, laughing, smiling, because if not, since the setting spray is still drying, it's going to settle into your fine lines on your face. So make sure that you keep a resting bitch face for maybe like close to 30 to 60 seconds, and then you'll be good to go. Alright guys, so that does complete this foundation routine. Let me know what you think of it down below, and also don't forget to leave me some of your favorite go-to drugstore makeup products, because you guys know I'm all about drugstore makeup and I would love to add some new things to my list for when I go out shopping. So thank you guys so much for watching. I love you all, and I'll see you in a few days in my next video. Bye!